Hello everyone, this just arrived in the mail. It's a RAM from a brand called KingSpec that I found with a good price on AliExpress. I'll leave a link in the description below. They have DDR3 and 4 with different speeds. Mine is DDR4, 3200 MHz and a capacity of 8 gigs. They also claim to have a 3-year warranty and professional outstanding quality. Okay, enough of that. Let's open up this box and install this RAM on this Lenovo ThinkBook 15 Gen 2. This is it, an 8 gigs DDR4 RAM. Before we install it, here's how you know what RAM speed your laptop has and if you have an empty slot available. All you have to do is go to Task Manager by hitting Ctrl Shift and the Escape key, then select the second tab on the top where it says Performance, and then go to Memory, and down here you can see how many slots you have and the RAM speed. Mine is saying that I have 1 out of 2 slots, which means I can indeed add 1 more. Now let's completely shut down the computer and flip it to start screwing off the 4 screws on the bottom. And with the help of a screwdriver, let's unscrew the 4 screws down in the bottom, set them aside. Then the rest of the screws are not removable, which is good. You don't have to worry which screw goes where. After that, I'm just gonna use a flat screwdriver and pry off the back panel. Even though you should use a plastic prying tool to not scratch your laptop, but it is what it is, you know. Now set the panel aside, and here we have the insides, and clearly needs to be cleaned as well. But let's start by unplugging the battery first and removing the little aluminum thing that is covering the RAM. Install the RAM by aligning this thing here, and then just insert it and just click it down until you hear that nice clicking sound, and then just put back the aluminum cover. As you can see, I misaligned it here. I'm sorry for all the OCD people, but I promise I went back and fixed it. The mistake was that I only thought that it was sticking by that glue part, but in fact you can see these little brackets that you have to clip in this aluminum tray thing. And after that I just cleaned a little bit the fans. Now, as you can see, since we have the laptop open, you can see that I have an empty SSD slot, NVMe SSD, which is great, but also have an empty place where I'm supposed to have a hard drive, but they did not solder in the connector on this model. In other models they did solder it in and add a hard drive, but if you get the hard drive, you don't get the NVMe SSD place. So I'm actually happy to have another SSD, and maybe in the future I can find a bigger battery that can fill up this empty place. Anyways, let's go plug back the battery connector and turn on the computer before closing it down, just to make sure that everything is working. It did take a couple of seconds to get the Lenovo logo on, which is totally expected when you're installing your RAM. It took about 30 seconds, which is fine. And once we booted in, I went back to Task Manager, and here we go. It did recognize it, and it's saying that it is now 16 gigs and I have 2 out of 2 slots. Perfect. Now we can close the laptop and screw back the screws. I did try a couple of tests to see performance, even though they're not really scientific tests. I started by opening different tabs on both Chrome and Edge browser, and it held up pretty well, considering that the browsing does eat most of the RAM in daily use. Then I also opened up Photoshop on Lightroom, and I immediately noticed how smooth switching between photos in Lightroom is now compared to previously, without even lagging, which is awesome. Then I rendered the same video with the same settings on Premiere Pro before and after adding the RAM. And here are the results. With the 8 gigs of RAM, it took about 29 minutes to finish rendering. And after, with 16 gigs of RAM, it took only 17 minutes, making it 12 minutes faster, which is pretty impressive. So, at the end of the day, if you're thinking about upgrading your RAM, you should 100% go for it. 8 gigs of RAM nowadays is just not enough, and especially if it's not on dual channel. For this specific brand, KingSpec, so far so good, and with the 3-year warranty claim, it should last for long. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and if you're planning on buying a RAM, or maybe this RAM, click my referral link in the description to help me. Okay, bye.